Oh yeah, pipe smokers. This is the Paul Gilson YouTube channel, and I'm Paul Gilson, aka Paul the Pipe Guy. So let's have a Friday night smoke together. It is the 6th of June. Today happens to be D-Day, 81 years since we stormed the beaches of Normandy in World War II. So let's have a smoke together on behalf of all those who fought from the greatest generation, as they were known, gave their lives and fought that horrible battle. So grab your favorite pipe and grab your favorite blend and definitely grab something to drink. Yeah, we'll be right back. We're going to start something on fire. Oh yeah, so what we're smoking tonight, the pipe we're smoking is an EA Carry bowl number 323. And this has like a little carburetor on it. It's a little vent up there, and it allows you to draw the smoke up, but draw cool air in from the outside. Very cool smoking pipe, and that is made of olive wood. It's darkened down almost to a chestnut color now, which it said, in the paperwork that it would as you smoked it, between the oils from your hand and the oils from the tobacco, would darken it down. Eventually it would become like a dark chestnut color, which that's happening. And inside of that, one of my favorites, some Black Irish Twist that I rubbed out last night, let it dry out, packed the bowl, and then decided, nah, I'm not doing a video tonight. So anyways, let's start it on fire. Yeah. Perfect. Man. So the D-Day, where they invaded the beaches at Normandy, the average soldier in World War II at that time was 26 years old. And they devised a bunch of new things just for D-Day. One of the things that they devised was a tank that had like a canvas wrapper built around it, so it would float like a boat, and it worked like a charm. Problem is they weren't counting on the waves being so high that day on D-Day, June 6th, 1944. So most of those filled up with water and they sank to the bottom of the ocean. So many of the soldiers that were in there drowned. The other thing that they designed specifically for that was they had a small cannon they had set up, and they had like big hooks, a big hook, and hundreds of feet of rope. It was designed to shoot to the top of the cliff, over, and then grab onto something. What the engineers didn't study was when that rope got wet, it weighed the rope down a lot more. So most of those cannons firing those hooks, that our men would climb up these ropes to get up to where the Germans were, while the Germans were throwing hand grenades down on them. Couldn't even imagine. Didn't work. The ropes were soaking wet, too heavy, and they wouldn't reach the top of the cliffs. The ones that they were able to keep dry did their job. And can you imagine that? I mean, you've already stormed the beach. You've gotten over 100 or 200 yards of beach. You're being shot at by the fastest known machine gun at that time. I don't know exactly what it was called, but it was nicknamed Hitler's Zipper, and they had a special recoil bolt that instead of just being a smooth bolt, it actually had ball bearing wheels on it. And so very little friction, and it was just like zzz, bzz, bzz, when they fired it. So it would shoot thousands of rounds per minute. Most of the guys didn't make it past the beach. And then when you got up there, you know, now they're throwing grenades down these cliffs at you. You're scaling up, and you got your M1 Garand strapped to you, you know, and you got your 45. You get to the top, and you got to shoot whoever is up there, and then get over and move them back for the next wave of our guys. And most of them, like I said, didn't make it there. Some of the there was, I think, 5 different beaches that they had nicknamed. There was Sword, Gold, 5 different ones. I don't remember what they were called. Some of them had very little resistance. Some of them had extreme resistance. And there was a lot of guys, because they took you in this patrol boat where the front would just drop. The driver would drive up there and be like, get the F out of here, drop the front door. A lot of times, if they were zeroed in on you with those machine guns, they'd just kill everybody inside of the boat, 20, 30 guys, like just mow them down. Some of the guys chose to dive over the sides, but they were so weighted down and they didn't expect the water to be that deep. A lot of our guys drowned. The other thing that Hitler did was a lot of the farmlands in France, he decided to flood. So our paratroopers that parachuted down there, we had a mechanism that was different than the British had for the straps that held the parachute on, and a lot of those guys, they drowned. They couldn't get the straps off quick enough. Equipment was weighting them down. The British had an idea where they had a center button that they would just hit and everything would release. So they were able to, you know, if you had to drop your rifle or whatever to swim to the top and survive. So most of the British did, but a lot of our guys drowned in those fields. So it was a great sacrifice. Just a little knowledge I know about D-Day. And, you know, our Navy, the British and the American Navy, were just pounding the heck out of these cliffs, trying to kill these Germans, but they were in 4-foot thick bunkers. I mean, unless you got a direct hit right through the front window of one of these, you weren't going to do too much. One thing a lot of people don't know, before D-Day in World War II, the French Navy, France was being invaded by Germany, and they knew that they were going to be overcome. And they had the entire Navy, French Navy there. And so we told them, you need to turn over all your vessels to us. And they refused to. And we told them, we can't let your Navy be overtaken by the Germans, or they're going to be able to overpower us. And they were like, nope, we're not turning our vessels over. We gave them a certain amount of time to turn them over, or we're going to blow them out of the water. And that's what happened. They were so pompous, the French. And so we did. We unleashed our full naval power, both England and the United States, on the French Navy, and sunk all their ships so they didn't fall into the hands of the enemy. And that's the truth. If you Google it, you'll see I'm telling you the facts. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, we blasted their ships right out from under them because we couldn't afford to let the French Navy fall into German hands. And, you know, like you said, instead of the French cooperating, they were pompous and no, we're not doing that, you know. So we sunk all their vessels. Unfortunately, war sucks. They probably could have just cooperated and said, we'll evacuate all of our vessels and just join your group. That might have worked. I don't know. This Black Irish twist is good. So a lot of young men lost their lives that day. After they broke through, the Germans realized we better get the heck out of here, and they retreated. The Germans retreated back, and then so there was a lot less intense fire on the second and third wave of guys that came in. But from what I heard, they served all those Marines a big, huge breakfast on those Navy ships. They had a huge breakfast before going out. Now they're in choppy seas on these boats that were delivering them with a front gate that would just go down. These guys were getting seasick. Those little boats were getting swamped. Everyone was throwing up everything that they had for breakfast. So there was water probably a foot deep in all these vehicles, waves crashing over the sides. And, you know, they're knee deep in vomit. And then, you know, I couldn't even imagine it, you know. I've seen video taken of that, you know, and you see guys that are running up on the beach, and all of a sudden, you see like pop, 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 all across their body. They've been hit 20 times with one of these fast German machine guns. They just instantly go down dead. Bodies and blood and everything floating around. I can't even imagine the horror of that. I can't imagine it. But they did it. Wave after wave after wave, you know. And they did it more than once. I mean, when they would attack Japanese occupied islands, you know, those Japs were dug in. Man, the Navy would just pound the hell out of those mountains, but they were so far deep inside, you know, and you know, storming the beaches to gain Japanese control at islands in World War II cost a lot of lives, American lives too. Just cut down. So I honor those men. If you were 18 years old, 81 years ago, you'd be 99 years old now. And there's some of those guys that are still alive. Can't imagine the horror. But they did it. If you ever, this is an E.A. Carey Olive Wood Bowl number 323. If you ever get a chance to get one of these, I suggest buy it. I think you can buy them for around $50. Like I said, it's an EA Carry 323 bowl number, and just a great smoking pipe. Nice and cool smoke. A lot of it is because half of what you take in your mouth is coming through the bowl. Half of it goes through like this little carburetor thing. I'm not going to take it apart because it's warm. You should never do that. Never take a pipe apart when it's warm. You're liable to break something. Yeah, so we're going to take a little break. We'll be back in a nanosecond. Hope you're enjoying this video. Yeah, so let's not forget those soldiers on this day. Can't even imagine being a 23, 24, 25, 26-year-old guy going through that, and you see all the tracer fire coming down from the pillboxes, you know, these 100 and something foot cliffs, knowing you got to get up there and take them out. A lot of the guys just said that their training, they just fell back on their training and it was something that was natural. But I'm sure that, you know, you're watching, you know, your fellow soldiers being cut down on either side of you, you know, just horrible stuff. And those machine guns, they'd rip you apart. It was just like, they would just tear a body to pieces. I like to study, you know, war stuff. Started out studying World War II stuff, and then I got into studying Vietnam stuff. So if there's any of you Vietnam veterans that are watching, I appreciate your service too. You know, the Vietnam vets, the World War II vets, the differences between them and the Vietnam vets is that the World War II vets, they went to fight. They were known as the greatest generation. And then the children of the World War II vets, when it came time for Vietnam, much different war. The average age of the American soldier was only 19 instead of 26. Most of them graduated from high school, had a graduation going away to Vietnam party, and then they were gone as soon as they were drafted right out of high school, as soon as you turn 18. And they saw every war has its horrors. You know, they went to the Vietnam veterans went to a much different land than the World War II soldiers. I remember being a little boy, probably about 3, maybe 4 years old, which would have put it around 1968 or 1969. And I remember my parents would put me to bed at like 8, 9 o'clock, and across the street was a big party. And even at 3, 4 years old, I remember they were playing Jimi Hendrix, The Doors, all the 60s music. They had different multicolored lights going on. They were drinking beer, hooting and hollering, just having a big, big ass party. And it was a bunch of 18-year-old kids that had just graduated. Well, I couldn't get sleep. My mother came in my bedroom. It was dark by now. I just said, "Mommy, what's that?" And she's like, "Well, that boy across the street, he just graduated from high school and he's going to Vietnam." So he's having a graduation / going away to Vietnam party. And I don't know if he ever came back. A lot of those in Vietnam that did come back, they didn't have the parades that the World War II vets had. They didn't have any of the appreciation. They were spit on, called baby killers, horrible things. There was a lot of war protests. You didn't have any war protests in World War II. They were selling war bonds. People were buying them up, you know. But Vietnam was much, much different than World War II. A lot of those guys in Vietnam, there was over 58,000 young men killed in Vietnam, killed in action. But we've lost millions due to Agent Orange, drug addiction, alcoholism, and suicide. So if you're a Vietnam vet, you're watching this, I salute you. If you're a World War II vet, and you're still around and you're watching me, I salute you. My dad was an Army drill instructor during the Vietnam era. He knew of the horrors of that war. Well, anyways, I'm Paul the Pipe Guy. This is Smoke Together is in recognition of D-Day, June 6, 1944. Paul the Pipe Guy, over and out.